All right. Hey, folks. Uh, I have an announcement, and in order to get there, I'm going to need a little bit of story time. So, about 10 years ago, uh, I get my first professional gaming job. It's at a board game cafe. My job title is Game Master. I come around, and while other people are serving up mimosas and snacks and whatever, I teach you, you picked out Settlers of Catan, let's learn how to play it. And pretty regularly, the parents would go off at one table and the kids would go off to another, and sometimes the other servers and people would be like, Jackson, we're giving you the kids. I'm like, that's fine. I flunked out of teacher college, so I've had plenty of paid tutoring experience with all kinds of different kids, so I can teach games to them if you guys don't want to. And it was good. There was one day, though, when I was working with a group of kids that were really mixed in age, really kind of rowdy. One kid in particular, I kind of clocked like, okay, there's some neurospicy stuff going on here, but I basically adjust the Catan lesson plan so that he can figure out how to play the game and have fun, and everybody's having a good time, and they wind up going home well behaved, and the dad is kind of surprised at that, and mom, she takes an extra minute. She kind of she's leaving, she's like, she says to me, you are wasting your potential, and she leaves. And it was meant as a compliment, I'm sure, but I was always kind of offended by that, because why is it not worthwhile to find lessons and find connection through a board game, through a role-playing game? So that's kind of what I wanted to do. Like, I messed up at being a teacher, but I can still help people through gaming. Okay. Fast forward a little bit, I am leaving my southern state. I'm driving across the country to go be with my partner, and for most of the ride, for at least 1,000 miles of this drive, it's just me and this audiobook that my partner had told me to pick up called The Way of Kings, because it is a huge, bulky story that would last me across the country, and because it happens to be about, among other things, this guy named Kaladin, who happens to suffer from depression, kind of like I do, and who goes through a hell of a lot, but wouldn't you know it, I don't think it's a spoiler, he winds up going through a bit of a hero's journey and becoming kind of a warrior and a champion by the end. Very nice. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That's what I listened to as I can across the country, and then I got another board game store job where this time I am a dedicated D&D dungeon master at a local board game store. We're running D&D summer camps, D&D after schools. I got a little team, and we're working with kids again, and who would have guessed it, out of all these city kids that are coming in, like half of them some kind of spectrum, some kind of ADHD, whatever. I've been through a bunch of group therapy. I've done a bunch of tutoring with all kinds of kids, so I'm the one that happens to be the one to help them out. Once again, those kids kind of get shuffled into my group. Cool. And I did enjoy working with the kids a lot, but I also enjoyed running games for adults, for the big kids. And there's a lot that went on when this board game store hit the pandemic, as I'm sure other geeks can attest to, and anybody can attest to. We were all going crazy, but one of the adult groups, and a few of them, but this one in particular, somebody, we were having our warm up before we rolled dice, and somebody said, this has been the most important night of my week. This has felt like group therapy, guys. I need it. And I'm like, okay, I know you mean that as a compliment. I'm not a therapist. I'm glad this is helpful. Please get therapy if you need it. It helped me. It can help you. Let's play a game. Cool. For a lot of reasons, after we were out of the pandemic and we're back in the little board game stores, stuff is just not the same for me. Stuff is not clicking. I'm not helping people the way I thought I could through games. I don't feel great about it. I'm stuck selling a bunch of WotC products and being alienated from some of the other aspects of the job. So I leave, I become a banker. I think I'll be able to help people here. There were a lot of financial struggles that I saw from gamers in the store. Let me help with that. And as it turns out, I should have guessed. The banking job I was at, I was doing a lot of good for people with $1 million accounts, and not a lot of good for people with less than $1 million accounts. So I'm like, this is not working. This is not worth the extra pay and the stress. I need to do something different. So I worked at a grocery store, a bougie grocery store, where I was like, look, I don't have to care about this. I can just do this as a job. And then on the side, I'm going to run really good games. I'm going to get to know more people and socialize better. I'm going to spend more time with my partner. I'm going to spend more time making YouTube videos. It'll be great. And it was great for a while, until some utter bullshit happened at the grocery store that we don't have to get into. But anyway, that left me unemployed. And that's where I've been for a little while. And I've been looking for opportunities, and I thought, especially after somebody reached out to me and said, you have a talent, you should be running games again, and helping people with your good games. And all right, I'll do it. I started doing research, I started pulling together my resources, I started getting some online stuff figured out. I'm like, I'm going to go into professional DMing on my own, not attached to a board game store, not attached to WotC stuff. I can run indie RPGs. It'll be great. And I ran a few test sessions, and I had fun. I was doing good. But it wasn't hitting the spot. It still wasn't right. This did not feel like what I need to be doing. What do I need to be doing? I don't know. One thing I remembered was that when I was at the grocery store, two separate parents had come in, and they were. I feel bad I didn't recognize their faces, because I was working with their kids, because they recognized me. They were like, "You're Jackson from camp. Our kids are in college now, and they still remember playing D&D with you, and how much time and attention you had given to them." And these kids were of the neurospicy type. I remembered them well, and it meant a lot that the parents had remembered me and said the kids remembered me too, and that was meaningful to them. And then I got this opportunity for a job. I didn't think it was real. I hopped on it. I went through some stressful interviews. I went through a big onboarding process every step of the way, thinking like something's gonna go wrong. But, you know, I try to persevere. I remember Kaladin, Stormblessed. And I'm happy to get to the point and say that next week I start my new career as a behavioral therapist. Now, that is not the top of the mountain. It is the start of a new mountain, which is going to be very difficult. During the interviews, I was able to talk about some of what I just told you, how if I can help kids through this game, I can help them through whatever activities they're trying to do. And they wound up liking that, I guess. But I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot more training. I want to keep improving, and I want to help people and help these kids through whatever games they're bringing to the table, through whatever issues they're coming up with. But I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just glad that I wasn't wasting my potential. I wasn't wasting my time. I was just taking the next steps. And I'm gonna keep taking that next step. And I'll keep doing YouTube. I'll keep working on Struggler. I've been hard at work on that once I got confirmation on this job. That's where some of my attention has been. But these games mattered. These fantasy stories mattered. And your story matters. That's my next step. I hope you make yours. Have a nat 20 day. Bye-bye.